What's up, guys? It's your boys Wokey back out with another Chris Watts video, and I have been on the complete Chris Watts roller coaster today because I've been getting tons of messages from multiple people. Somebody was doing some investigation on Jim Kotowski on LinkedIn, and holy crap, I have so much stuff that I'm looking at and I'm trying to figure out how to present it, but multiple different addresses, multiple different locations. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there for right now. I'm trying to find the best way to say this because one, I don't want addresses being blurted out because obviously I don't want to get in trouble. Second of all, I don't want legal trouble. Third, I need to figure out the best way to present this, but there has been multiple locations of, yeah, I'm just going to leave it there for right now. Some guards apparently in this, or smart Chris Watts, the new shocking details exposed, guards on alert from truecrimearchives.s. We're going to watch this video and see if it's true or not. And that's not even the ballpark. I have been talking to somebody that claims to be Sean. I don't know how. I'm trying to figure out how to find out if this is actually Sean or if it's some Joe Schmo that is literally playing the part. He's telling me some different interesting things that I don't know how to verify. So all that's coming soon, but I'll figure out how to present it. But today we're going to be looking into this video from truecrimearchives.s about smart Chris Watts, which that's an understatement. New shocking details, is it? And then guards on alert. So we're definitely going to watch this together. So if you guys have not subscribed to my channel, if you guys could do me a solid and subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting that wiper icon down at the bottom right, hit that bell icon next to it. So when I do post videos like this one, you guys will get that little ring notification that I've posted that video. Then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And then do the same thing over at truecrimearchives.s. If you guys would like to watch them instead of with me, I understand, and subscribe, comment, like, and share to their channel. They are trying to get to 2,000 subscribers, and I'd like to help out another channel. With that being said, let's get in this video and see if there is new details. I don't know.
Say it's just when you think it's over. In a frozen Wisconsin prison, thick concrete walls, steel bars, and behind one of those bars...
And I heard it also gets very cold in the prison. So that's another benefit for Chris.
sits a man who destroyed everything he ever had. Chris Watts. You know the name. You remember the headlines. But do you know what happens to him every single day now? Do you know what his life looks like in 2025, 7 years after everything fell apart?
It could be worse for him. He has a little bit more of a cushiony job. Somebody, or the person that works at the prison that I know, tells me that he's a cook. And you would have never guessed that he was who he is. But yeah, again, we can't confirm it. It's all alleged until we can actually have a piece of paper in our finger or face that says, yep, he is a cook, or he's a janitor, he's in the infirmary. Like, we need to find the facts. I'm just presenting them to you. You decide with which you will. But let's continue.
Do you know who comes see him often? Right now, as you watch this,
no one besides
he's sitting in a tiny cell, 6 feet by 9 feet. That's smaller than your bathroom. And he's been there for over 2,000 days. New information just came out.
Yes.
Letters he wrote. Stories from people who've seen him. Details about his daily routine that will shock you. Some say he's changed, others say it's all an act. But here's what nobody's talking about. What really happens when the lights go out? Why do men...
And I'm not going to release their names because it's obvious reasons that it's their employment and they can't talk directly on the matter. They can talk vaguely, But again, it's their livelihood. I don't want anything to come bad to them, so I'm not going to release any of that information.
In suits come to visit him. What goes through his mind during those long, endless nights? As an investigative reporter and a parent myself, this was one of the hardest and touching pieces of case I've ever had to research. Please subscribe. It encourages me to keep bringing you more details about this case. Let's go back to where this prison story actually begins. November 2018. The courtroom was packed. Families crying, cameras flashing, and Chris Watts standing there, hearing his sentence. 5 life sentences, plus 48 years, plus 36 years. No chance of parole, ever. But here's something most people don't know.
What?
He didn't stay in Colorado. Why? Because keeping him there was too dangerous.
Keep him safe.
Think about it. Everyone in Colorado knew his face, knew what he did, knew every detail. Prison has its own rules, its own justice system, and inmates don't treat everyone the same. Some crimes?
People that kill their mother, people that go after innocent kids, pedophiles, you're dead. Like that. Those are like one of the top things that people in prison do not like. And I'm surprised. I can't say this because I don't want harm to come to Chris, if that makes sense, because God tells us that we shouldn't be judging and we shouldn't want any death upon anybody. But honestly, with him being in prison where he's at and nothing has happened to him yet, I'm surprised. I'm not saying that I want it to happen, but I'm surprised nothing has actually taken place yet, like a beat up or a rumble or a shank, something. You never know.
They get you put at the very bottom. And what he did? That puts you at the lowest level possible. So the state of Colorado made a decision. Ship him out. Get him far away. Somewhere.
But it's funny that the place that they sent him to, somebody has a address in this location, and it's not that far. It's like 45-minute drive. Jim.
Cold. Somewhere isolated. Somewhere he could be kept safe from other
I'm cold right
who
now.
might want to hurt him. December 3rd, 2018. That's when Chris Watts arrived.
It's 34 degrees outside right now.
Arrived at Dodge Correctional Institution in Waupun, Wisconsin. Do you know where that is?
Yes.
It's a small town, population around 11,000 people, middle of nowhere. Freezing cold winters, the kind of place where snow piles up 6 feet high and doesn't melt for months.
It used to be that way. It doesn't do that anymore. We haven't had snow higher than 2 feet in years.
The prison itself? It's huge. Over 900 inmates locked inside. Maximum security. This isn't some low-level facility. This is where Wisconsin keeps its most serious cases. And here's something creepy. Before it was a prison, parts of that building were used
for an infirmary for crazy people.
As a hospital. A place for people with severe mental problems.
Told you.
Can you imagine?
And that was given to me by my informative, that it was a crazy place.
Walking those same halls where people once screamed and suffered. When Chris Watts walked through those gates, everything changed for him. No more Colorado. No more anything familiar. Just cold Wisconsin winters and a cell waiting for him. From day one, they put him in protective custody. You know what that means? It means he can't mix with regular inmates.
23 hours a day that man's sat in solitary confinement.
Can't eat in the cafeteria with everyone else. Can't go to the yard whenever he wants. He's separated, isolated, protected. Why? Because prison has a code, unwritten rules that everyone follows.
And if they have any dead inmates on their watch, that doesn't really help the budget.
And people who hurt children or families, they're marked. They're targets. Other inmates see them as the worst of the worst. So his protection became his prison within a prison. They gave him a job right away. Custodian. Sounds simple, right? But picture this. You're mopping floors, scrubbing toilets, cleaning up after hundreds of other inmates. And you're making 12 cents an hour, not $12. 12 cents. Do the math with me.
Woo! That sounds like a best thing ever since what he had.
If he works 8 hours, that's 96 cents, not even
Woo!
$1 for a full day of work. But here's the thing. In prison, that money matters. It
Go and buy yourself a bag of chips from the commissary, Chris. You deserve it.
buys stamps,
Moldy
snacks from the
chips.
commissary, small things that make life slightly more bearable. So he takes the job, he mops, he
doesn't deserve
cleans,
it.
he keeps his head down, and every single day looks exactly the same. As an investigative reporter and a parent myself, this was one of the hardest and touching pieces of case I've ever had to research. Please subscribe. It encourages me to keep bringing you more details about this case. Have you ever thought about what it would be like to know your life will never change? That every tomorrow will look just like today?
Suck.
That's his reality now. No vacation, no days off, no hoping for something better.
Nothing.
Just walls, and more walls, and the same routine. Forever. Let me walk you through a typical day.
He's literally has a countdown to the day that he dies. That's what he's got to look forward to. And then a lot of people have made me feel more or much better that he's in prison. At first, I wanted the death penalty. But again, with my faith, we're not supposed to be taking people out of this world. That's for God to decide. But the man deserves to be rotting in prison. He deserves to have no fun. He deserves to sit there and think about what he did and wish what he had to come back, but it's never going to come back. And he's going to suffer in his mind mentally because of what he did and his choices that gave him what he has now today. That's why I always tell people, including you guys at home, your actions have consequences. Don't be cheating. Don't be lying. Don't be stealing. Don't be murdering. Don't be doing stupid stuff. Do the right thing when nobody is looking.
Because understanding his routine helps you understand just how crushing this existence
Also, God is watching you.
really is. 5 in the morning. Lights buzz on. Harsh, fluorescent lights that hurt your eyes. No gentle wake-up. No snooze button. Just sudden brightness and the sound of metal doors clanging somewhere down the hall. Breakfast comes through a slot in his door, a small opening, just big enough to slide a tray through. He doesn't eat with anyone, doesn't see anyone. Just takes his tray and eats alone in his cell. What's for breakfast? Usually something basic. Oatmeal maybe. A piece of fruit if he's
Hopefully grits with no flavor.
lucky. Toast. Coffee that tastes like dirty water. The kind of meal you wouldn't feed your dog. But in prison, that's what you get.
My dogs eat pretty good, I'm not going to lie.
After breakfast, the tray goes back through the slot. And then what? Nothing.
He just sits there.
He sits there, in his cell,
Reading the
6
Bible.
feet by 9 feet. One small bed, a metal toilet, a tiny sink, maybe a few books, some letters, his Bible, and that's it.
And
That's his
pictures.
entire world, 23 hours a day in that space. Can you imagine it?
I
Look
don't
around
want
your
to.
room right now. Now imagine never leaving it.
Oh
Not
my
for work,
gosh.
not for food, not to see friends, just you and 4 walls for 23 hours straight.
Nothing.
1 hour. That's all he gets outside his cell. 1 single hour.
And he traded this for another woman. And he's supposed to be smart.
And it's not like he can do whatever he wants. That hour is supervised, monitored, controlled. Sometimes it's shower time. Guards escort him down the hall. Other inmates watch. Everyone knows who he is. Their eyes follow him. Some whisper. Some just stare with looks that say everything.
There are those in the prison with Chris that want him gone.
The shower is quick. Maybe 10 minutes if he's lucky. Rushing to wash up while guards wait outside. No privacy, no relaxation. Just get clean and get back to your cell. Other times that hour is for making phone calls. But here's the catch. Every call is monitored, recorded, limited to certain people on an approved list. And those calls cost money. Remember, he's making 12 cents an hour.
Which I think
So
is
every
ridiculous.
minute on the phone is precious. Who does he call? That's something people wonder about. His family.
His parents, sister, the woman in question. As of right now, he doesn't have very much people on his list.
Some of them still talk to him. Others cut him off completely. Would you take a call from someone who did what he did?
But he's got so much support. He's got so much people outside that love him.
Even if they were family, some days his 1 hour is yard time, but it's not like he can just run around playing basketball. He's still in protective custody. So it's a small area, separated from other inmates. Maybe he walks in circles, does a few push-ups, breathes fresh air that feels like freedom even though he's still surrounded by fences and guards. And then, back to the cell. 23 more hours to go. Think about what you did yesterday.
And then the next day he does it again.
All the places you went, people you saw, things you did. Now imagine if all of that was taken away, if your entire existence was one small room, day after day, year after year. How long do you think you could handle it? A week? A month?
2 days?
A year? He's been doing this for over 7 years now. The Bureau of Prisons keeps records, and according to those records, Chris Watts has stayed out of major trouble. No big fights.
He's gotten in trouble here and there. He's disobeyed some orders here and there, but he hasn't done anything drastic.
No serious rule violations. Just 2 minor conduct reports in all these years. What were those reports for? Small things, breaking minor rules, nothing violent. Nothing that got him thrown in solitary confinement. Just little infractions.
He had some stuff that he wasn't supposed to be. He was talking to somebody he wasn't supposed to be.
That happen when you're living under a microscope. But don't let that fool you. Just because there are no official reports doesn't mean things are easy. Inmates who've been inside Dodge talk about the tension, the way certain people are treated, the unspoken threats. One former inmate said something chilling. He said the nights are the worst, because that's when you really feel how alone you are, when the prison gets quiet, when most people are sleeping. That's when your thoughts become loudest. Can you imagine lying in that small bed, staring at the ceiling,
listening to the other prisoners yell, scream probably, clanking on their toilets, hitting their doors? Like, I could imagine.
Knowing you'll never leave, knowing everyone you love is living their lives without you, knowing you destroyed everything.
And that they're not going to be able to go, or he can't go to anybody's funerals. He can't go to Christmases and 4th of July. He can't cook on the barbecue. Like, all that stuff that you know you can't do anymore, it would eat me up inside.
Some nights, guards walking by report hearing things from his cell. Crying. Quiet sobs that echo down the empty hallway. A grown man breaking down when he thinks nobody's listening. Is it real remorse? Or just self-pity?
He's crying for
That's
himself.
what everyone wonders. Because crying alone in your cell doesn't undo anything. It doesn't bring anyone back. It doesn't fix what's broken. But it does show something. That the weight of what he did follows him everywhere. Even into his dreams. Maybe especially into his dreams.
I hope it's nightmares.
As an investigative reporter and a parent myself, this was one of the hardest and touching pieces of case I've ever had to research. Please subscribe. It encourages me to keep bringing you more details about this case. Now here's where things get really interesting. Because even though Chris Watts is locked away from the world, he's not completely cut off. There's one connection he still has. One way he reaches out beyond those walls. Letters. Hundreds of them. Maybe thousands by now.
He's got nothing else to do.
He writes constantly. To family. To pen pals.
Probably plays tic-tac-toe with himself.
To people he's never even met, who just started writing to him after seeing the case on the news. Why do people write to prisoners? That's a question a lot of folks ask. Some do it out of curiosity, some think they can help somehow, and some, they're just drawn to famous cases. The more shocking the crime, the more letters the person gets. Chris Watts buys stamps by the sheet. He spends his 12 cents an hour on envelopes and paper. And he writes back to almost everyone who writes to him. Prison mail is monitored. Guards read it, looking for anything against the rules, codes, plans, threats, anything that could cause problems.
I thought about writing it myself, but I don't want to waste my time because I feel like if I write it and send it to him, he's going to be like, oh, this dude, he probably has heard about me. Well, he's heard about YouTube and all that stuff because he's watched it, but he ain't going to respond to me. It's not like, why would he?
But here's the thing about monitoring. It's not perfect. Things slip through. In 2025, some of his letters leaked online, not officially. Someone on the outside who'd been writing to him decided to share what he'd been saying. And when people read those letters, it caused a firestorm. What did he write about? His daily routine, his feelings, his faith, and something else. Something that made a lot of people angry. Blame. He wrote about regret, said he wishes he could take everything back, said he thinks about what he did every single day. But mixed in with that regret was something else. Finger-pointing.
Stupidity.
He never uses names in the letters. He's too smart for that. Guards would catch it immediately. But he uses phrases, hints, references that people on the outside would understand. The situation I was in. The person who changed everything. The temptation I couldn't resist. Reading between the lines, it's clear who he's talking about. The affair, the co-worker, the relationship that started everything tumbling down. And in these letters, he compared it to old stories, biblical stories. He used words like led astray and tempted beyond my strength, making it sound like he was a victim of circumstances instead of someone who made choices. Do you see what he's doing there? He's not taking full responsibility. He's spreading it around, sharing the blame, making it seem like other forces pushed him into what happened. That made people furious, because at the end of the day, nobody forced him to do what he did.
Nope.
No weapon to his head and made him make those choices. He did that, all on his own.
But with a little push in the other way.
But in his mind, sitting in that cell, day after day, maybe that's how he copes. By telling himself a different story. By convincing himself that things just spiraled out of control and he was caught up in it. The letters also reveal something else. He's got supporters, people on the outside who believe he deserves forgiveness, who think he's truly changed, who send him encouraging messages and tell him they're praying for him. How does that make you feel? Knowing there are people who look at what he did and still find room for compassion, is that admirable or disturbing? Some of these pen pals are women.
They talk about, or not they talk about, but God talks about in the Bible that we should not just forgive once, twice, 7 times, but 77 times. And the reason why it's 77 is just you continuously forgive, because if you want to be forgiven for your sins and so forth, then you need to forgive others. So forgiving Chris on that level of murder of his family of 4, I honestly, at myself right now, if I was put in the footsteps of Sandy Rusek and Frankie Rusek, Sandra and Frankie, I don't know if I could forgive it's somebody that took out my family. And that bothers me because forgiveness obviously is a must, but can you forgive murder? I've seen a couple people here and there on different channels that the murderer was forgiven, or the murderer was forgiven by the family that lost their loved ones. There's one kid that actually came over and said could he hug the woman that killed his brother. I felt moved, but at the same time, and then when I watched this, I'm like, I bet Chris wants forgiveness. But is it something that can be done, as in forgiving Chris of murdering 4 children, or 4 people? 3 children, 1 unborn, and murdering a woman that had probably 50, 60 years left. I'm just curious what you guys think. Do you guys think about that when you watch this? Or do you just want nothing but pain and suffering for Chris? I mean, Chris is right where he belongs. He's going to be judged one day. But, yeah, I'm not saying I love Chris and he's a fantastic guy and stuff like that, but I just couldn't forgive somebody that took my family away. I don't know. Comment your thoughts down below, guys.
That's something that happens a lot with high-profile cases. Women who become fascinated with the person behind the crime,
There's an actual
who
condition.
convince themselves they see something others don't, that maybe they can be the one who saves him or understands him.
There's no
He
saving.
responds to these letters carefully, never romantic, never crossing lines that would get him.
I beg to differ on that one. I guarantee this guy is wanting to be like, what would it be called if you were sexting in prison? Letter sex? I don't know.
in trouble. But
Ooh, you like it there? Hold on. Ooh, yeah, you like that when I touch you there? And then 6 weeks later, oh, this is getting me so. Yeah, I could just see him trying to pull some stuff like that, calling somebody else his sweet taco burrito. You know how he said sweet empanada? Who knows?
friendly enough to keep the connection going, because those letters, they're his lifeline, his only
If he didn't have letters, this man would be.
window to the outside world. In one leaked letter from early 2025, he wrote about feeling heard for the first time in years, about how writing helps him process everything. Some days, the only thing that keeps him going is knowing someone out there is reading his words. Is that manipulation or genuine human need? That's the question nobody can really answer, because from inside a prison cell,
Need for companionship?
every word someone writes is calculated, even if they don't realize it. Every sentence is crafted to create a certain image, and the image Chris Watts wants to create is clear, reformed, regretful, religious, redeemed. But letters on paper are easy. Real change? That's something different entirely. Let's talk about something that comes up a lot in his letters and in reports from people who know him inside. His faith. According to multiple sources, Chris Watts has become deeply religious since being locked up. He attends Bible study twice a week, reads scripture every day, quotes verses in his letters, talks
He has nothing else to do, though.
about being saved and forgiven. The prison has a chaplain who runs these Bible studies, small groups, usually 5 or 6 inmates at a time. They sit in a room together, still supervised, of course.
What are we going to find out in the future? Chris has become a nun or something? What's the equivalent of a nun for a man? Not a pastor, but there's something below it. Bishop? I don't know.
And talk about
Or a
passages from
priest
the Bible,
himself.
about redemption, about mercy, about second chances. And Chris Watts never misses it. Rain, snow, or shine, he's
He has nowhere to go.
there, Bible in hand, taking notes, asking questions, participating in discussions. One person who attended these sessions said he seems genuine, that he's not just going through the motions, that he really engages with the material, wrestles with difficult questions, tries to understand what it all means for someone in his situation. His favorite verse, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17, "Therefore if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new." He quotes that one a lot. In letters, in conversations. It's become like his personal motto, the idea that he's a new creation now, that the old version of him is gone.
Well, he didn't listen to his vows to protect his family and to love through thick and thin, through rich for poor. He didn't listen to that one. So
That God has made him into something different. But here's the hard question. Can faith really change someone who did what he did? Is it possible for someone to be that bad and then become genuinely good? Or is it just a coping mechanism? A way to live with yourself when living with yourself seems impossible?
I think it's a coping mechanism for him.
Religious people will tell you yes, that redemption is always possible, that God's mercy is infinite, that no sin is too great to be forgiven. Others
Besides blasphemy.
will tell you no way, that some things are unforgivable, that talking about being saved doesn't mean anything when your actions destroyed innocent lives.
So yes, technically a murderer could be forgiven of his sins if he repents, but it does not erase the earthly consequences of his actions. Forgiveness is granted through repentance and faith in Jesus Christ. Through murder is considered a grave sin. It is interpreted. or in some interpretations of Islam, well, we're not in Islam, but sincere repentance can lead to forgiveness, while some view in Judaism holding that certain sin, particularly murder, cannot be forgiven by God alone. Again, it's all with interpretation. But again, we can't judge this man on being up in heaven or vice versa, because we are not God. But I cannot say, or I can't see that this man has repented for the people that he took away. I feel that he's doing it just for himself.
Faith is easy to claim, but hard to prove. The chaplain at Dodge reportedly said that many inmates turn to religion in prison, when everything
Well, you either have gym, religion, or gangs. You pick one.
else is stripped away. When you have nothing but time to think about your life and your choices, that's when people start looking for meaning, for hope, for forgiveness. And Chris Watts? He's all in. He's read the entire Bible cover to cover, not once but multiple times. He can quote passages from memory.
He has nothing else to do.
He talks about feeling God's presence in his cell during difficult moments. In one letter, he described praying late at night and feeling what he called peace washing over him. Here's what makes this complicated. Faith is personal. It happens inside someone's heart and mind where nobody else can see.
It's between you and him, the Lord.
So how do you judge if it's real? You can't take a test for genuine belief. You can't measure true repentance on a scale. All we can do is look at behavior. By all accounts, his behavior has been stable. No violence, follows the rules, respectful to guards, participates in programs, helps.
So if he does all that, great, fantastic. But what made him snap to commit such a heinous crime? The push of another person. The dig of another person. The whispers to another person.
Other inmates when he can. But then again, isn't that just survival? In prison, you follow the rules because breaking them makes your life worse. You're respectful to guards because they control everything about your day. You participate in programs because it breaks up the monotony. Maybe his faith is real. Maybe it's performance. Maybe it's both. Maybe he's convinced himself it's real because that's easier than facing the alternative. One thing multiple sources agree on. He cries during Bible study sometimes, reading certain passages that hit too close to home, stories about betrayal, about loss, about consequences. His voice cracks, tears roll down his face, and everyone in the room sees it. Are those tears for what he did, or for what he lost?
The tears are for him.
That's the million-dollar question, because guilt and self-pity can look pretty similar from the outside. There's a saying that prison is full of people who found God. Judges hear it all the time. Someone commits a terrible crime, gets caught, goes to jail, and suddenly they're a changed person.
Which is good. Coming to Jesus and God, there's nothing bad about it. But you should have done it at the beginning.
Who loves Jesus and will never do anything wrong again. Sometimes it's true. Sometimes it's strategy for parole hearings. But Chris Watts will never
He's not getting out.
Have a parole hearing. He'll never get out. So what does he gain from pretending? Maybe that's actually evidence that it's real. He has no reason to fake it. No benefit to performing for guards or chaplains.
I heard NK was pretty good at fake. Never mind.
He's not trying to impress a parole board. He's just trying to survive each day. And if believing in something bigger than himself helps him do that, then maybe his faith serves a purpose, even if we can't judge whether it's genuine. Now, we need to talk about the most controversial part of his prison life, the part that makes people angriest. The way he talks about responsibility. Remember those leaked letters we mentioned?
He still points it at the victims.
Well, they contained something that shocked a lot of people. Mixed in with his talk about regret and faith and being a changed person, there was blame shifting. He never says, "This is all her fault." He's too careful for that. But he implies it, over and over, in different ways. He talks about being in a relationship that clouded his judgment, about being influenced by someone with different values, about falling into temptation that was placed in front of him.
Sugar-coated.
Anyone following the case knows what he means. The affair, the relationship with his co-worker
We could tell the difference between Shanann and Nicole when he described them.
that started while he was still married, the person he was with when everything fell apart, and the way he writes about it. It's like he's the victim, like things just happened to him instead of being things he chose to do. One letter from 2024 compared his situation to ancient stories where men were led astray by seductive women. He literally used religious texts to justify blaming someone else for his own actions. That made people furious, absolutely furious, because whatever else happened, whatever relationship issues existed, whatever mistakes were made by anyone else, at the end of the day, he's the one who made the final terrible choices. Nobody forced him.
Yes.
Nobody threatened him. Nobody made him do what he did. That was all him. But in his mind, sitting in that cell year after year, he's constructed a narrative, a story that lets him live with himself. And in that story, he's not completely a monster. He's a man who made mistakes, who was in over his head, who got caught up in circumstances beyond his control. Do you think that's how he really sees it? Or do you think deep down he knows the truth but can't face it?
It's that one. Definitely interesting video. I wouldn't say there's new details in it. I would say that there's stuff that some people probably don't know about letters that have been released about him blaming his mistress and then him blaming Shanann, but not actually saying their names. I mean, thank the Lord Chris is never going to get out. I just watched another video where a kid completely murdered a family. And I think I told you guys this before, but got 150 days of community service because he was 17. It's like we can't allow people to think that murder is okay and that sometimes they get more of a rather than a jail sentence. Again, we can't judge the man if he has found faith or not. That is between him and the Lord. Us being here on earth, we see it a whole different light. Some of us can't forgive, like myself. I don't know if I could forgive him taking my son and his family away. If I was in the same space as Sandra and Frankie, I don't know if I could do it. I think that I know of Sandy and Frank have forgiven him, but it took time. We're now 7 years in. But yeah. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this video. If you want to support the channel, the link is in the description for truecrimearchives.s. And we will see you guys in the next video. Please take care, be safe. As always, keep nerding on, and we will see you guys in the next video.